So, full spoilers for Arrow Season 7, Episode 8. Full spoilers. This character is a huge part of Arrow going forward, and a big reveal that was in the last episode. So, if you haven't seen the new Arrow yet, please don't watch this video because it spoils some big things. But if you have seen this new Arrow, then you're probably wondering who the mystery archer was and who the mysterious woman underneath the hood was, and that is Emiko Queen, who is Oliver's half-sister. So here's a little video explaining who Emiko Queen is and what connection she will have to the show going forward and all that in general. So Emiko Queen in the comics is the daughter of Robert Queen and Shadow. Shadow being the Chinese daughter of Yefei. I'm assuming they're going to change that in a big way for the show, because since Shadow was Oliver's age, not only was she Oliver's age, but she was killed, and her and Oliver also had a thing. So if she is Emiko's mother, that'll be very awkward for Oliver. It'll be funny, but it'll be awkward. So let's get into it. So Emiko was first introduced in the new 52 Green Arrow run in issue 18, which was from May 2013. So actually the same month as the Arrow Season 1 final. So this is relatively new storyline in as far as comics go, and a lot of early Arrow was adapted from the new 52 run. But she's been a mainstay in the Green Arrow mythos ever since, and rarely a Green Arrow comic has gone by in the last few years that she hasn't been a part of. So she is kind of big deal. Thea in the show, early Thea was very much Maya Dearden, but later seasons of Thea, which, like, you know, her being Oliver's half-sister from Malcolm and Moira, that was definitely a take on Emiko Queen, and Thea is essentially what Emiko is, to be honest. So that's why it surprises me so much that they're actually introducing full-on Emiko Queen, because she's just kind of Thea. There's not much else about it, you know. Half-sister of Oliver, who was trained by an assassin, all of that kind of stuff. But she was born on Starfish Island, which that is the island that Oliver was stranded on. So in the show it's called Lian Yu, in the comics it's called Starfish Island. By the way, the island in the comics is not near as cool as it is in the show. One thing that the show has done better than the comics is the origin story of Green Arrow. But early in her life, her father's old protege and one of my favorite Green Arrow villains, Simon LaCroix, or Komodo, kidnapped Emiko and took her away from her family. Komodo actually appeared back in Arrow in Season 3, Episode 2, titled Sarah, in which he was an archer that was possibly linked to the death of Sarah Lance. Laurel almost killed him before Oliver talked her out of it, as it was discovered that Simon wasn't responsible for the death of Sarah. The character is yet to be seen since, and has only been mentioned once since in Season 3, Episode 15, which was Nanda Parbat. Although it's possible a different version of the character could show up this season with ties to Emiko, maybe a different name. Maybe they use the code name Komodo, or maybe they just pretend that Simon never appeared in the show at all, and they just have a new character called Simon, because I highly doubt the Simon LaCroix we saw in Season 3 will be in this season. But Simon trained Emiko for years with the Outsiders Arrow clan. The Outsiders were a group that included 7 clans, each clan devoted to a different weapon. Actually, as a matter of fact, Kodiak, who is one of the longbow hunters from this season, the guy with the little shield, he was actually the leader of the Shield clan during this very same story arc. After years being trained by Simon, Emiko started to believe that Simon LaCroix was her father and not Robert, which is understandable. You know, she'd been training with Komodo from such a young age that she didn't really remember Robert or Shadow at all. Komodo was hired by Stellmore International to destroy Oliver Queen's life and frame him for crimes he didn't commit. You may remember the name Stellmore International from Season 2 of Arrow, which was the company that Isabel Rochelle worked for, where it was her working for Stellmore, which was working for Slade Wilson. She was trying to buy out Oliver's company. She was trying to destroy Oliver's life. As a matter of fact, the Stellmore International storyline in Arrow Season 2 was actually pretty damn similar to the comic book storyline, which is crazy to think about since the comic book storyline and Arrow Season 2 were being written at the exact same time. So to do that much adaptation so quickly was pretty impressive, and the fact that it turned out so good as well is even more impressive. But alas, we are not here to talk about Isabel Rochev or Stelmore International. So after Komodo failed to stop Oliver, he attacked him once again, but this time bringing along Emiko. And Emiko and Komodo both fought Oliver, Emiko getting a few hits in and getting a few arrows stuck into Oliver. But once again, Oliver got away, and he was completely unaware of who Emiko was, and he assumed just Komodo's daughter. Soon after this, Oliver discovered that Shadow had been captured by Komodo, and she had been delivered to Count Vertigo, and so Oliver went there to rescue her. This was when Shadow revealed to Ollie that Emiko really was his half-sister, and that she was her mother. Soon after this, when Emiko learned who her true parents were, Komodo attempted to kill Emiko, but her father, Robert Queen, got in the way and ended up dying instead. This in turn led to Emiko getting angry, taking her revenge, and then killing Komodo later on by shooting an arrow through his chest. Soon after this, Emiko traveled to Seattle to make amends with Oliver, and this led to her wanting to be the new Green Arrow, to which Oliver heavily disagreed. She later adopted the name Red Arrow, one that Roy Harper has actually used in both the show and the comics, and after becoming Red Arrow, Emiko became a member of Team Arrow properly, and she has been fighting alongside both Oliver and Dinah, aka the Black Canary, in most Green Arrow title comics ever since. So she's a pretty big character in the scale of things, but as you can probably tell from a lot of this, she is very similar to Thea, in that Komodo is very much like Malcolm Merlin, and there's just a bunch of the story beats that are the exact same. So I do kind of hope that they change up Emiko's storyline quite a bit to make her character different from Thea's, because I think a different take would definitely work well. In terms of Komodo appearing this season, I think it's very unlikely, but I do think it's possible that we could get some character as a step in that's referenced here or there that could be doing the same role as Komodo. But as far as Komodo's character goes, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to use him again, which sucks because he's such a great Green Arrow villain, and I hate that they waste him so easily. But yeah, let me know what you think about Emiko Queen and what her role could be in Arrow going forward. So thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and have a great day.